Well, hello there. It is me. It is Neon. Yay! Finally recording a VR video after a while. Yeah. Reason why is I've been having problems with my PC for a little bit. Unfortunately, the 1 terabyte hard drive that I installed for extra memory, I don't know, something is wrong with it. It used to click. It would make a clicking sound, like at complete random time, and every time it clicked, it would just lag the system completely. I have no clue what's wrong with it, but um, I think it's too late to return it too, because it's been a while since I bought that thing. But well, I've been trying to figure out how to fix it. I tried changing the SATA cable for a better quality one, and it seemed to work for like a week, and after that, just it started the same thing again. Then um, I tried because the frames were starting to get a little bit choppy and stuff. It wasn't very good, so I figured that I thought it was something wrong with the graphics card. So I switched it from the third slot to the first slot and see if that worked. And no, it didn't really work. So I just decided, you know what? I'm just gonna simply disconnect the hard drive, and voila! It, suddenly my system's like complete back to normal. Only problem is it only has only 120 gigabytes for from an SSD with only 30 gigabytes free. Yeah, I know. But I'll figure it out. I'm probably gonna end up having to turn the uh the the 1 terabyte hard drive I have into an external hard drive, because then it won't have as many problems as when it's connected to my computer internally. Yeah, I know that was a bit of a long ramble about my computer, but yeah. Speaking of which, today we are going to be talking about. I meant to move the camera and not move it. Today we're going to be talking about how a computer works, and a few things, like, specifically 8-bit architecture. Uh, Although I'm not sure if that will be necessary, because this will, because, well, maybe. But just so you know, these can apply to the computers of today, like the 16-bit, 32-bit, 64-bit, 128-bit, and so on. You know that one meme, the one joke. 64 bits, 32 bits, 16-bit, 8-bit, 4-bit, 2-bit, 1-bit, half-bit, quarter-bit. The watch game. Yeah, that one. Except, actually, I don't know if they exist, but, as far as I know, half-bit and quarter-bit computers just don't exist. They're not a thing. You can only have 1 bit or more, nothing less. And I'll explain why in a moment. So, where do we start? By the way, don't mind the little thing over here that says like Control equal Tab. I don't know how to remove that. So, yeah, just say hi to him. Yeah, he's a good text. doesn't really bother me. Hopefully it doesn't bother you, but yeah, whatever. Right. I think you got different color pens over here. And where should we start? Start with the CPU. Now, either the Z80 or 6502, well, I'm not sure. But we'll just go with a random one. Just, it doesn't matter. So, let's say, I'm going to simplify this a lot from the actual 6502 CPU, but basically, it's just a little chip here, you know, the Moss 6502. Yeah, like that. And it's got these little legs. I'm gonna simplify these, and yeah. Alright, here it is. The 6502 CPU. Pretty cool, right? Indeed it is. Now, this is an 8-bit CPU. And, well, bits are just generally they're just these little rows of 8 bits. It's just like a line, which is a wire for each, well, piece of binary. So, what is binary? That's a good question. Binary is simply just ones and zeros. What do ones and zeros mean? Well, it's simple. It's really simple. 1 means there's power, so that means on, and 0 means no power, so that means off. That's literally all that means. Pretty simple. And that's how every single digital computer works. Is there a signal coming, or is there no signal? And that's how it knows. And little fun fact as well, that's where we get the power symbol, which is, that. Okay, that actually doesn't look very, that looks terrible from my angle. One moment, let me go grab the eraser. Yeah, I know you can still hear me. I don't know if I'm gonna cut this from the video, but I don't know. You'll know if it's still in. Is this the right eraser? I really hope this is the right eraser and that it doesn't clear everything here. Okay, good. There we go. Alright. Power button. That thing. Not perfect, but hey, whatever. You get what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. The power button is literally just a 0 and a 1 combined. Why? You got that? On and off. 1s and 0s. Binary. Really cool stuff. Now you know something. If you didn't know this already. But yeah, that's how all the digital computers work, with just 1s and 0s. Or on or off. Or signals, yeah. Now, if I just had these two here, this is a 2-bit computer, right there. That's how a 2-bit computer works. But it's just 2 lines that can either be 2 zeros a 0 and a 1, a 1 and a 0, or 2 ones, which can literally count only up to 4. That is all a 2-bit computer can do. I think. Yeah. That's all a 2-bit computer can do. Eraser, where are you? Thank you. Now, if you double it, you get 4 bits. Which, you get like I think 16 combinations with this. Wait, no. No, I'm completely wrong on that. Whatever the number is, well, it's just. I think that's exponentially. Whatever it means, whatever combination you get from this is literally just, well, whatever number that is. I do know that now, okay, 4 bits. And what do you do now? You just double it, and now you get 8 bits. That is an 8-bit line, or 8-bit bus, whatever you want to call it. Now, with 8 bits, and I know this for a fact, with 8 bits, you can count all the way up to 256. Which is not a lot. Which, fun fact, is why White Pac-Man's last level is 256, and once you get past that, well, the game starts to break. Yeah. Because it's an 8-bit program, and 256 is the max number that an 8-bit computer can get to. So that's another thing. Yeah, pretty cool, yeah. Yeah, that's an 8. That's 8 bits. And then you go so on, and yeah, as you can tell, a 64-bit computer, which is what you most likely have, is just 64 lines. I can count all the way to whatever 64 bits can count. I don't know. I really don't know what that is, but here. 6502 CPU, that is 8 bits. That I know for a fact. Now, every CPU has a clock pin. Now, when you mic clock, you just like, take a clock and just plug it into the CPU? No, not exactly. You could, if you can time if you can figure out how to connect each pulse to this thing. Well, a clock, CPU clock, simply just means that, it's basically pushing the action button or pressing the next button repeatedly. So, if a CPU does not have a clock, no clock signal at all, the CPU will not do anything. Because nobody's telling it that, hey, do next step, next step, next step, next step. Computers these days can do that at the rate of, what are we gigahertz now? Yeah, something like that. Gigahertz, which means it does that a billion times a second. That's crazy to think about. But yeah, it's a clock pin. How do you get the clock pin? Well, you can get that from a crystal oscillator, which looks something like that. It looks like a can of sardines when you open up a thing. When you open up a computer or device, it'll look like a tiny little can of sardines soldered onto the board. And inside this little thing, if you were to open this thing up, you would find a literal crystal, like in the shape of maybe a tuning fork, something like this. And what that does is when you provide power to it, the crystal oscillator vibrates at a certain speed, and that vibration, you can just connect that. There you go. You can just connect that over to the clock pin. I'm so sorry. There's a metal bar in the way here. Yeah. Yeah. You can just attach it to that, and then boom. It's really fast. Now you may be wondering, why can't you just, you know, make your CPU go like really fast, like just by like overclocking it? That's where you get that term from, which simply means just, you know, increasing the rate that the clock pulses. Why can't you just, you know, make every single computer go like a bajillion times fast, which we already do? Well, it's when you do that, this thing tends to well, the CPU can run into a lot of problems. It can have a whole ton of stability, and of course, the added side effect of a ton of heat. Which is why when you see like some overclockers, they generally, if they tend to overclock their CPU by like a lot, you would see that they would have this like giant like tube of like liquid nitrogen in it, and yeah, that is because this thing is generating so much heat that it has to be cooled, or else the thing will literally catch fire. So, yeah, you can't, it can't really do that, but you know, you can always just manually tap the clock. One moment. Yeah, the clock. Now, quickly, let's talk about the system bus. Now, every single computer has this. Alright. Alright. System bus. Now, what's a bus? No, it's not. Yeah, you're technically correct. This is the bus you go on like to ride into like on the street, and you know you the bus, the vehicle, the mass transportation vehicle. Well, for a computer, it can be it's like a set of lines, like a set of lines that connect to different like devices or chips or whatever connected onto the motherboard to basically communicate with the CPU and the device. But how does it know which device to communicate to? Well, that is the job of the address bus. Now, I don't know about the 6502 CPU, but I know that for a fact that the Z80 has a 16-bit bus. Well, isn't the Z80 like 8-bit? It is, but it uses 16-bit. It uses a 16-bit address bus, which means it has like 16 little pins coming off of the sides of the CPU. So yeah. The address bus simply contains, well, a certain amount of lines, which every device on a motherboard has a certain address, which, well, this thing, the address bus, will basically send these things onto the will send signals onto the address bus saying, hey, can I get this device? For example, can I get the floppy drive controller, please? And the serial communication will say, not me. It doesn't say that actually, but yeah, basically, it will me, and then the floppy drive controller down the line will say, I'm here. And, well, yeah. Now these two are communicating, but not exactly. You see, now that the CPU is in contact with the, oh, let's see, where is my white pen? Oh, here. Thank you. Let's say this thing right here is the floppy drive controller. Screw that, I'm turning that P into an F. Floppy drive. Yeah, floppy controller. This is it right here. Yeah. Now these two are connected through the address bus. You got that? And here is the serial communications bus as well, because why not? And you can have like a certain amount of things connected to the bus as well. And here is, I'm gonna name that as COM, the serial communications bus. It is connected to that. And using the 16 bits, I know that's 8 bits, but yeah. Using the address bus, they're all connected, but CPU tells this thing, hey, I want to access the floppy drive controller. You know, to get some files or write files to the floppy drive. The floppy disk, yeah. And it will communicate to this one, and it will communicate to this one only through a specific address, which is with a combination of 1s, 0s. Yes. Now, how does it control the floppy drive controller? Well, you got another wire here. This is the control bus. Red wire is 1 second. Control bus. Yep, control bus. That is actually how it tells the floppy drive what to do. Basically, yeah, okay, I'll get that afterwards, but yeah. Your control bus is what tells the floppy drive controller or whatever device to do something. Yeah, it's doing actions. And of course, it'll tell this meeting, okay, can you get me this file? Can you do this to get me this file? It's like the floppy drive controller is like, alright, I'll just do all of that, and let me just get the rainbow data thing right here, yeah. Okay, I have an idea for this. here it is. Floppy drive controller is, of course, attached to the floppy drive itself. And yeah, here it is in all its glory, with a little floppy disk right there. Very nice. Just pretend the floppy disk is inside the drive for this. So it will tell it to, move the arm, move the read write heads down to grab a file and read. But now, well, now how does the CPU get the data to move to whatever, like the RAM? Well, that's where a last thing from the system bus comes in. And I'm going to do this with Special Rainbow because it is really cool as the data. And this is the data bus. That is how data itself gets transmitted. And yeah, here's the little data bus. Yep. Add it to the COM, because why not? Your data bus. That is how it sends and communicates and, transmits the data itself. So, it tells you, okay, give me this file. Okay, alright, I'll do that for you. And then it grabs the data from here, it takes it to the floppy controller, and this thing decodes it, and it will send it back to the CPU. Now, where does the CPU store this data? Well, some processors have built-in cache, which means like simple math memory, I think. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that. That's where we get of course, the dedicated WAM. That's a B, not an R. Here we are. Okay. RAM. Being 8 bits, the 8-bit CPUs can only access up to 64 kilobytes. Not gigabytes, not megabytes. 64 kilobytes, which means about 64,000 bytes. That's not a lot. That's not a lot. You can't even store an iPhone. Like, actually, can you store an iPhone image in there? Probably. Maybe. I don't know. You probably just like store like one compress, but yeah. Get the idea. You can't really store much on that. But for an 8-bit computer, that is just enough for simple, problems. So, here's your RAM. And the RAM can be daisy chained up to 64 kilobytes. And yeah, it is. I actually don't know if it's connected to the system bus. I think so, because there's this thing called the memory bus, storage bus. Yeah. But let's just say, for this example, unofficially, it's just connected to the CPU like that. There's your RAM. Beautiful. Yeah. It will take the data from the floppy drive to the floppy drive controller to decode it into something that the CPU can understand. And it will take it and store it into the RAM. So that way, the CPU can go ahead and do whatever it needs to do to whatever's stored in the RAM according to the user. It's up to the user to decide what to do with this data, whether they want to continue working on it, like for example, a game, an 8-bit game, like an adventure game, doesn't matter. They work on it through the RAM with the help of the CPU, so just you know assist and actually decode all this stuff because it's really difficult. It's not impossible, but it's really difficult to do all these problems with just humans. But I'm of course a fox, and well, foxes can't really do that either. It would take a long time, yeah, and a lot of work. Thankfully, that's what computers are there for. And yeah, that's a brief overview of what I know right now. But I'm currently learning about this stuff too. So yeah, I just wanted to share this to you because you know, two purposes: either to you know educate you on this stuff, share my thoughts about it and stuff, and what I know, and which is a win. Or you either fell asleep because it's kind of boring, which is also a win. Yeah, both is a win. It's a win-win situation. But yeah, um, I'm gonna head off. I'm cute, and I'll see you in the next one.